Chapter 6, Introduction to Social Work Practice. In as early as the mid-50s, there was already talk in the country about the teaching of genetics of social work practice in the undergraduate program. But the curricula of the different schools of social work did not make explicit what this meant. Unlike today, that we have rules to follow under the amendments of RA 4373 and RA 5175. It is common knowledge that in the Philippines, the first professionally trained social workers were educated in the United States. Their number increased in the early 50s, coinciding with the beginning of professional social work education in the country. So at the same time, the number increase of social work in early as mid-50s. In the United States, the concept of integrated method of social work practice, or what in that country is more commonly referred to as the generalist approach to social work practice. The standard delivery by way of separate practice of casework, group work, and community organization has been greatly questioned. What is increasingly evident is that every social worker has to work with individuals, groups, and the community. In other words, methods are more frequently combined in practice, and there is more overlapping in their content that was originally supposed. According to Herbert Bisno, the author came out clearly with their objection about the separate method of casework, group work, and community organization. According to him, considers this a faulty conceptualization because the inclusion of a quantitative attribute of the potential transaction unit in the designation of the method has led to an illicit bond between a given method and a given, but arbitrarily restricted and limiting client system. Bisno also considers illogical the designation of method on the basis of the size dimension of the object of methodological intervention. The nine conceptualized social work method which be utilized with any client system that offered by Bisno. One is the adversary, two is the conciliatory, three is the developmental, four is the facilitative instructional, five is the knowledge, development, and testing, six is restorative, seventh is the regulatory, role implementing number 8, and number 9 is the role making. Compton and Galloway have additional objection to casework, group work, community organizational model. According to them, casework is the produced individual change and the group work to do either, depending on the nature of the groups, instead of maintaining the primary focus of social work intervention in the person-situation interaction, while the community organization will work to produce community change. Micro approaches focus on the individual, either as an individual or as a member of a family or a small group, assisting the person in coping with environmental stress, while the macro approaches are directed primarily toward community on larger system and toward producing a change in the system. The micro strategies encompassed most of casework, family counseling, as done in social work and group activities aimed of helping individuals, while the macro strategies encompass community, organization, policy making, planning, and group work strategies directed toward change outside of the members themselves.
So there are four essential elements in social work practice, and that includes client, worker, problem, and process. Client is to whom the social worker is legally obligated to provide service. Worker or the social worker who aims to improve people's lives. Problem or the social problem is an issue within the society. Process is the action or task made by social workers. These four elements are the context of plan change. So, what is this plan change? Plan change is defined as change originating from a decision to make a deliberate effort to improve the system and to obtain the help of an outside agent in making this improvement. In other words, plan change is a development and implementation of a strategy to improve a client's social functioning or well being. In the dynamics of plan change, there is this system called the client system. So the term client system can mean any of the following. First, in the personality system, which consists of related subparts, the conscious, unconscious, the mind, and the body. Second, in a group, such as families, committee, staffs, clubs, and other smaller social units. Third, it is in any of the larger social system also. Organizations like community, business organizations, welfare agencies, educational institutions, religious associations, government bureaus, political parties, and in a community, the individual citizen, informal interest, groups, organized occupational or political groups, economic and social strata, geographical units, and others. Also, in plan change, there is this called outside agent called professional change agent who works with particular client systems. They are the ones who help persons cope with the problems of change. The problem or situation to be assessed is the reason for the entry of a change agent. The process or the development of the helping relationship is defined as consisting of the following. There are seven phases of plan change. Phase 1. The client system discover the need for help, sometimes with stimulation by the change agent. Phase 2. The helping relationship is established and defined. Phase 3. The change problem is identified and clarified. Phase 4. Alternative possibilities for change are examined. Change goals or intentions are established. Phase 5. Change efforts in the reality situation are attempted. Phase 6. Change is generalized and stabilized. Phase 7. The helping relationship ends or different type of continuing relationship is defined. Ronald Lippitt, the master of plan change, describes two concepts, namely change force and resistance force. Change force is an approach of the situation which increase the willingness of the client system to make a proposed change, while the resistance is the complete difference of change force. Instead, it reduces the willingness of the client system to change. And those are the elements that are proven to be applied and involved in social work.